Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my podcast. This week's topic is worrying. What does it accomplish?
Welcome to the Light, Hope, and Healing podcast, where we discuss why you have stress, anxiety, pain, illness, and how to heal from it. I am your host, Tracy Gohrick. My background is a healing coach, energy healer, spiritual mentor, intuitive, and channel.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my podcast. This week's topic is worrying. What does it accomplish? So, in short, nothing, right? Worrying, I do videos on, I've done them every so often because it is one thing that I catch myself doing, and I know all of my clients have worrying in their life, right? Who doesn't have worrying? We've been programmed to worry. We've been just made to be worried because it affects our health when we worry, right? And for the most part, most likely it's what you're worrying about is not going to happen. And all it's doing is affecting your health. So we always talk about living in the moment, living in the day, because that's all you're in right now is what's happening right this minute. You're not in the past and you're not in the future yet. So being worried and upset about the past doesn't matter. It's in the past. And in the future, it hasn't happened yet. And because of our programming and our traumas, a lot of times we're making stuff up in our head about the possibilities that can happen. And it affects us, right? It makes us worry. It's like, well, okay, but what if this? And then, you think it is your soul self that's telling you, like, oh no, something's wrong. And for the most part, for me, what I've done, I'm like, if I'm in fear, then it most likely is not my higher self or God, source, whatever you want to believe, telling me that. That's my ego trying to protect me from whatever's going to happen. Because, back in the day, when we were Stone Ages, I guess, the cavemen, they had to be in fight or flight. They had to worry about the predators coming after them, the dinosaurs or whatever. I'm not a good explanation on that because I don't know it, but it does come back from that time when we were more in the land and had to worry about predators coming after us. So we had to think about that and be in the stance. So our mind is always thinking of ways to help us and protect us. But we're not needing it that now. So our mind is in overdrive and ego trying to protect us from things we don't need to be protected from. And it's using the experiences that we've had to try to protect us, right? What it actually is doing is hurting us because it's hurting our health. If we're sitting in worry and stress, which worry would add stress to our life, it is putting us in that space where we're worried and stressed, and it's not good on our body, and in turn it will cause ailments for us, right? Physical ailments if we sit in that too long. I don't know about you, but I myself can tell when I have been in stress and it affects me. And I can see how stress affects all my clients and even people in my family. It's not good. It really wears on us. Now, in one way, though, it's a good thing when we're shown because some pain, illness shows up because of the stress, because that's a sign we need to look at that and we need to change something we're doing. And that would be learning to live in the moment. And I get it. It's hard. It's really hard to live in the moment when there's things going on around you or you're worried about certain situations. So when I was first decided to do this video, it's interesting because I hadn't remembered, even though I do talk about it, I hadn't remembered for my childhood. And for those of you that followed me for a while, I used to have horrible panic attacks. And I grew up kind of in the 80s, right? And in the 80s, we were made to be afraid that they were going to drop a nuclear bomb on us at any minute, right? That's the time frame I lived in. And that stressed me out and upset me so much and worried me so much as a kid. I was a kid, young adult in the 80s. And that's where my panic attacks came from, once I got into my late teens, early 20s, was because of that fear that had happened when I was younger. Because waiting for that to happen, waiting for the nuclear bomb to drop on us. And what brought it up is the song Forever Young. And it reminded me in the song, they top waiting for the bomb to drop. And I remembered then, I was like, that's right. And I have mentioned it before, but it reminded me again just recently that all that worry and stress that the news put out stressed me to no end, just waiting like for the bomb to drop and we were just gonna like vaporize into nothing. And it was, I mean, there was movies about it and it was in the news all the time. I can't even tell you how bad it was then. And it's interesting because now I won't watch the news because it's a bunch of crap. They're just trying to put stuff out there to worry, which in turn causes us stress, which in turn hurts our health. So if you look at the overall picture here, they're trying to hurt our health in so many ways, and the news is one of them, right? They don't talk about happy stuff on the news. They talk about things to scare us. And so that nuclear bomb never dropped back in the 80s. And here I was so stressed about it. And like I said, I wasn't even going to bring that part up because when I was talking about worrying, there was another situation in my life at the time where I was so stressed and worried recently. And in the end, it was all okay. Everything was okay. It was a medical stressor. And it was something we were really worried about. And in the end, they did the test on it and everything was okay. So, like I said, the majority of things we're going to worry about don't even happen. And I've said the percentage before and they said 85%. I think the more I thought about it, I think it's higher than that. So I get it. I was afraid and I was afraid to die, right? And that was part of the whole bomb's going to drop on us and what's going to happen with that. As I started to heal myself and I began to go on my spiritual journey, I understood why we don't need to be afraid to die, right? We don't. And when you can take that away and you're no longer afraid to die, because I think pretty much everything that we stress and worry about would be tied to dying, or a majority of it, right? And when you can let that go and not be afraid to die anymore, then there's nothing holding you back. And one thing that I learned on my spiritual journey is we don't go anywhere. Have you ever watched those near-death experiences? If you're afraid to die, watch those and see what you take from it, because we don't go anywhere. We don't really die, just leave this physical body. So whatever it takes for you to overcome anything that is in your worry and stress, look for that, whether it's healing your traumas, healing the things that have happened to you, healing yourself, and not being afraid of dying, because we don't go anywhere. We're here on earth having this experience, but when we're done with this experience, we go on. We go on to another place that's beautiful. All right, so just remember that worrying doesn't do anything for us. In fact, it hurts us. It hurts us a lot. It hurts us in so many ways. For one, when you're worrying, you're not functioning, you're not living, you're not seeing the beauty around you, you're not living this life when you're in fear and worry. And so many of us, and for me at times in my life, not now, but in times in my life, I've been so consumed by worry and fear that I wasn't living. And we're meant to live. We're meant to enjoy this place. And it's about overcoming it. It's about ignoring the news and what they're trying to make us in fear, and healing ourselves and our traumas, and not being afraid of this life and of not being in this life, right? Because we do go on when we're done here. Hi everyone, I wanted to talk real quick about the sponsor of this video. It's the Lifewave X39 patches. I don't recommend very many things, but when I do, it's something that I really love. And this is something that I really love. Me, my husband, and my mom have been on it for about 9 months now. And here are some of the benefits we've had. I have had more energy. I recover quicker from injuries. Like I'll just kind of tweak my knee or, my elbow or something, and feel better by the next day. It just heals much quicker being on these patches. My hair is thicker. I went and got my hair cut the other day, and my son told me that my hair is much thicker than it has because he's the one that cuts my hair. And I just feel more at peace and less stress since being on these. And also there was a mole on my face that disappeared from it. So many things can happen for you. So for my mom, who's 80, she has more energy. She doesn't need to take naps anymore in the afternoon, which is what she would always fall asleep in the later afternoon. And she no longer needs to or does take naps. It's not that she just would fall asleep because she'd be sitting there watching TV or something. And she no longer takes the naps. One thing we noticed is she had a cut on her finger right when we first started to put the patches on, and it was healed the next day. So she recovers more quickly. Bruises were going away more quickly for her. And also a new one is the doctor is taking her off some of her medication because her levels were very good. So that's another amazing thing that's happened for my mom. And then for my husband, he has more energy. He used to also fall asleep in the afternoon on the couch, and he no longer does that. He's just full of energy again. Right after starting the patches, it was like a week, he popped his shoulder out and out of socket. And so he, got it back in, and like it's so painful. I don't know if you've ever had that happen, but he couldn't even lift his arm this far, from after it happened. But the next day he was able to lift it halfway up, and the day after that he was able to lift it all the way up. It was amazing. He has done it so many times, and he was never able to recover that quickly from an injury at all. And he's more calm and less stressed. So those are the amazing benefits. So here's what it looks like. I'm going to show you real quickly. It is a little dot that you just put on the back of your neck. Have it on the back of my neck right now. So you can see it there. And you just wear it for 12 hours on and 12 hours off. It's amazing. I love it. And if you want to know any more information about it, the links are in the description below. If you have any questions, reach out. If you want to purchase it, the links are in below. Again, if you have questions, just reach out to me. My email or any contact information is in the description below. So check it out. It's been amazing for me and my husband and my mom and some of my friends and clients too. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my podcast. This week's topic is feeling icky, make changes. So for me recently, I had been feeling really icky. I had had quite a bit of stress in my life going on, just things, keeping me under pressure and under stress, lately. I had not been eating well, and I had just this past week felt like kind of crappy for a week. I had no energy. I couldn't get anything done. I was wondering even if I was going to be able to get this video done because I have to go out of town again before I go out of town because the energy just wasn't there. And so that's why I wanted to talk about it today, because I think a lot of people are going through it. I've talked to friends of mine, I've talked to my family, and a lot of them have just been exhausted and feeling icky. Now, I could tie mine back to, the circumstances I was in and under, but also I think it's the energies on Earth right now. It's what's happening. It's things are changing, and so it's causing us to feel tired and to be more affected by our surroundings. So today I wanted to talk about that in what you can do. So what I did when I was in the low, like I said, didn't think I'd be able to do the video because I won't do these unless I'm in a really good place because of the energy. I'm not here to pretend like, oh, everything's all rosy. That's not it. It's just the energy behind it and what gets put out there. I want it to be good energy. Okay. So one thing that I did is I made sure to do my workout for at least 20 minutes every day. And then also a new thing I've started is to get 10,000 steps every day in my day. And also I added grounding. So the steps and the grounding kind of went together. I just make sure to go walk barefoot in my grass. And if you don't have grass, go to a park. Or even if you're not, if you can just go sit, because I'm now questioning myself going into, the park and walking around. But what you can do is just sit in a chair and put your feet in the ground, on the ground, whether it's dirt or grass, and ground yourself. That's just another thing that I've done for myself that I needed the extra boost. So, when you're feeling down or when you feel like in a low spot and you've done things and you're on this schedule, like I kept working out, I kept moving my body, I kept doing the things that I usually do that kept me in a good place. But this time I needed to change it up and add more because the energies were getting so much stronger and I had more I had to overcome. So I had to change it up. So that's one thing to think about. Like when you're feeling like that, you want to change things up to help you feel better. Because if you get in a lull or your body gets used to it or you have more coming at you, then you need to do more or change it, right? So I added the grounding and the 10,000 steps. And then I also went back because I don't always do the yoga, but I went back and started adding the yoga back in and meditations. And doing that brought my energy back up. So it's been 2 days and I had probably been doing it for about 3 or 4. And then finally the past 2 days, I started to feel the difference and feel better in it. So, I mean, that's the thing. When you are feeling down and low, you want to make sure and make changes. Now, allow yourself to rest because I do think my body needed the rest, right? So allow yourself to rest. But then after a few days, start incorporating new things or incorporate them, but also allow yourself to rest, right? Because I was incorporating the walking and the grounding and the yoga. I would incorporate that, but I would still allow myself time to rest. Okay. So when you're feeling like that, allow yourself to rest because you probably do need the rest. Okay. So the point is you have to make the effort when you feel like that. You have to really sometimes push yourself to do it. Like I didn't feel like doing anything, but I made sure and did things first thing in the morning because that's when I had more energy. But by the end of the day, I was a little bit low, right? So I made sure and did everything that I really wanted to do in the morning. And then by the afternoon, I'd go get some sun. That's another thing I did. I would go get some sun. I would walk and I would ground. And all of that changed my life, but it changed how I was feeling, right? But the point is you have to make the effort. When you're feeling low, don't just sit in and be like, oh, this is how it is. But rest, like I said, rest, but make sure and change it up. Find things that might work for you. What I do might not work for you, but I'm sharing what I do and what's helped me. The sun is amazing and giving us healing, just being in the sun for 10 minutes a day, 10, 20 minutes helps you heal, right? And walking and grounding, all these things together can just change your trajectory or how you're feeling, especially when you're in a low spot. And know that a lot of people are going through it right now. A lot of people are exhausted. A lot of people are just really struggling because of the emotions and it's the energy on earth. And we're trying to raise our vibrations and move out of the darkness that's been here. Okay, so that's what's going on, and we're kind of working through that right now. And so that's part of it. And that's why you need to pay attention to how you feel and do the things that help you. Make the effort to do the things that will help you heal or overcome, the feeling low and the feeling icky. Okay, so just remember, change what you're doing. Add to what you're doing. Don't quit what you're doing though, but add to it or change it or come back to things that maybe you let go. And the other thing that I also did was, started paying more attention again to how I was eating because was not eating well. It was my mom's birthday and we had cake and it was just too much sugar and it really affects me. So it was so many things all together. And it took 3 or 4 days to overcome it, but I worked through it. I added the things and it made a huge difference. And I made myself do those things every day, even though I was tired, right? But I also still rested. I still allowed myself rest. The one thing I just pulled back was from doing the work, my business work. I just took a break from that and rested. I took a break from social media. That's another thing that you could do that might help you, because social media can really affect you. So take a look and see what things you are drawn to do, or research it, or do the things that I suggested and see how that works for you. And then do more research and see what things you could do for yourself when you're feeling icky and low. Because we can all overcome these things. It's just working through them and making ourselves, kind of pushing ourselves to do it. All right. So that's what I've got for today. Go do something you love. Every day, do something you love. Drink tea, Epsom salt bath, pray, meditate. Whatever it is for you, do something you love. Then do self-care. That could be pray, meditate, ground in the yard. Just do one thing of self-care, Epsom salt bath. And then look for the good in everything. Look for the good in everything. And when you see something in someone that stands out to you, say it to them. And then finally write 10 things you're grateful for. Do these things, and I promise you're going to see a difference in your life. All the links are in the description below to contact me. I have meditations. I have spiritual messages. There's just so many ways you can work with me. Check the links below. Also the Lifewave patches that I talked about in the sponsor of the video. All the links are in the description below. And reach out if you have any questions or any topics you want me to talk about. We'll see you soon. Love you. Bye.